Hello everyone, I'm Morgan, and today I wanted to share with you 12 books, nonfiction books, that I would like to read this year. So without further ado, let's get into it. The first book I want to read is Diaries, an Antarctic memoir by McNeil. And as the title says, this is a memoir about McNeil's experience staying for a year in Antarctica, but also traveling to some other countries, including Greenland and some others that I don't really remember. I have just been so interested in Antarctica ever since I read Where'd You Go, Bernadette by Mary Sample. This book was not really amazing, but the whole thing about it is that it's about this family who is preparing a trip to Antarctica, and so throughout all of the book you have the little girl who is searching for information about Antarctica and sharing it with her parents, and I was just so excited for every single bit of information, and now I just want to know everything about Antarctica, so I will be looking forward to that book. The second book is Arrange Why Generalists Triumph in a Specialized World by David Epstein. And this one I have been wanting to read since I saw this video made by Asep Science, I think it's called, their channel on YouTube. I will link to the video down below and up here. It's about the 3 best ways to study according to science, and one of the ways that they talked about is that you should mix things up theme-wise, and this is based on some experiences that showed that people who learned different things all at the same time actually remembered better each of those things than when they were learning only one thing at a time. And I think that's so interesting, and he was referencing this book in this video, so I want to know a bit more about the source material. The third book is A World Without Work, Technology, Automatism, and How We Should Respond by Daniel Susskind. Daniel Susskind is a very well-known economist, and I'm really interested in everything he does, and this book in particular really interests me because I think it's just a great topic. Obviously, we are all pretty young, and I think I will still be here in like 20 years or maybe more when the technology will have really advanced, and probably we will depend even more on it than we do now. And I have already wondered, reading sci-fi and just nonfiction, how it's going to be this world when the technology will have just completely overtaken our world. It's already started really, but can you imagine when machines are just doing everything for you? Like, what place do you have anymore? Are you still supposed to go to work, or is the machine doing the work for you? How does that look? I think that's fascinating, and I cannot wait to read this book. The fourth book is Black Klansman, Race, Hate, and the Undercover Investigation of a Lifetime by Stallworth. I have been wanting to read this one ever since the movie came out 2 or 3 years ago, and I still haven't, but I'm still just as excited to get to it because this story, if you don't know, is about a man who infiltrated the Ku Klux Klan, and the weird thing is that he was a black man, and so he did everything over the phone, and he pretended to be white and racist and all that stuff to get into this organization, and it's just so interesting. I cannot wait to see what happened to him and his experience. Then we have 10 Arguments for Deleting Your Social Media Accounts Right Now by Jaron Lanier. This one I'm just really interested because I kind of have a love-hate relationship with social media. Obviously I do YouTube videos, so I have to be on it, and I also have Facebook and Instagram and that kind of stuff, and I do like those, but at the same time I wish I wasn't spending as much time on them. And yeah, they're really useful, but also I don't really know if I want social media to overtake my life, and it probably already does. And I'm glad I don't have Twitter actually, because that seems even more time consuming, but already the other ones are taking a lot of time in my life, and I'm always thinking about getting rid of them, but at the same time thinking it's really useful, so I don't know. I think this book will really do something for me. The sixth book is Will My Cat Eat My Eyeballs? Big Questions from Tiny Mortals by Caitlin Doughty. This book actually came about from kids asking questions to Caitlin Doughty, who is a medical examiner, a coroner, so she works with dead people, and she actually has written quite a few books about her experience working with dead people. And I think it's really interesting because from what I've heard, she writes in quite a funny way and just doesn't take things too seriously, and I think that's great to talk about death, because some people are just so scared to talk about it, and I don't think they should be, especially with kids, because it's an important topic. Obviously, I mean, I don't want to be to depress anyone, but we are all going to die one day, so it's good to talk about it, in my opinion, and especially in a nice way. The next book is You're Not Listening, What You're Missing and Why It Matters by Kate Murphy. This one actually came out in January, I think, and it's all about all the social and body language that you're not picking up on and how to get better at it. And I just think it's really important because obviously we all have to be quite social as humans, at least a little bit, so it's good to know how to do that, I guess. I've read actually quite a few books about that when I was younger because I've always been fascinated by body language. I was a fan of the TV show Lie to Me, I don't know if you know it, and I'm really good at seeing body language actually, so I don't think this is going to teach me like a lot, but I'm still always interested in that topic. The eighth book is Stay Sexy and Don't Get Murdered, the definitive how-to guide by Karen Kilgariff. I've heard quite a few people talk about this book at the end of 2019 and saying that it was a very good non-fiction book. I think the other book is actually narrated by the author, as a lot of these are actually, and I don't really know what it's about, except like the title says, it's about how you don't get murdered as a woman. So it's going to be important. Next is The Uninhabitable Earth by David Wallace-Wells, and I'm just really interested in every single book about climate change, and this one is one that people talk about a lot in that topic. I've also read another book by Jonathan Fur not too long ago about climate change, and I just want to know more. But I've also heard a lot of people say that this book is quite scary, and I get why. Obviously, climate change is something that we need to know about and to be conscious of, but at the same time, it's also scary because we're not doing a lot right now about climate change, and we don't really know where we're going to be in like 50 years or even 20, 30, whatever about that, so who knows. The next book is So You've Been Publicly Shamed by Ronson. This one is again about the internet, and more specifically about the shame sometimes that you can get being on the internet. And I've heard this example in this book that he takes about this woman who got on a plane, tweeted something, so on Twitter, and when she got to the place that she was going on the plane, when she landed, she had been fired from her job, and her tweet had gone viral, and just a lot of people didn't want to talk to her anymore, and it just totally got out of proportion. And I don't really know what else he's going to talk about in this book, but I'm interested. I'm also really interested in The Psychopath Test by Jon Ronson. I've heard it's a really good book about psychopaths, and I'm just really interested in that. Next is actually a book that I own, and it is Alan Turing, The Enigma by Andrew Hodges. I got this one for Christmas by my boyfriend, and I'm really glad he bought this one for me because I really loved the movie Imitation Game about Alan Turing's life, and more specifically the Enigma machine, and I want to know more, so this will satisfy me. However, I actually purchased the audiobook because I don't tend to pick up nonfiction books that much in physical format, especially not when they're this big. But maybe I will go through the physical copy just a little bit because I did see some diagrams and stuff, so that could be interesting. But yeah, I've heard this is one of the best nonfiction books, actually. One of the 50 best books of all time, so that's interesting. And the last book I wanted to talk about is Sapiens, A Brief History of Humankind by Yuval Noah Harari. I've actually been wanting to read this book for quite a while, and I talked about it in a video in my end of year TBR, but it didn't happen in 2019, but it's happening now. I'm actually currently reading it. I'm only one chapter in, but I am really enjoying it. As the title says, it's all about the history of humankind from Neanderthals to right now, and it's a wide overview of everything, and it is separated into big parts in history. And the only thing that I'm not loving about this book is that he doesn't just give you facts, he gives a lot of his opinions, and he kind of gives them aspects as well, and I don't like that. It's very subjective, but it doesn't bother me too much, but I am noticing it. I think he is doing that for the book to be more interesting because he's comparing things in history to our life now to make us interested, I guess. But it's a little thing that is bothering me, but I hope it's not going to be too bad about this book, so hopefully I will finish this year. But that's all for me. Thank you for watching. Please tell me if you've read any of these books and what you thought of them, or what nonfiction you're interested in reading right now. I'm just interested in so many topics in nonfiction, so I have a lot to read. And yeah, that's all for me. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you soon in another video. Goodbye. Dream I know, deep up my feelings for you.